We're going to bring up our Mew EX, and here it is, guys. We're going to see a nice KO with Genome Hacking. We're going to do Power Blast, 120 damage to the Mewtwo, using its own attack against it. Look at that, one-hit KO. This deck is so good against Mewtwo and Mew. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Matty here, and today we're going to be showing you the #1 anti-meta deck to come out of Mythical Island. I'm super excited for this deck list. I've played a couple of games with it already. It's exceptionally strong, and its matchup spread is much better than you might realize. It's basically an improved version of the Weezing and Wigglytuff deck that saw quite a bit of play in the previous format of Genetic Apex, and we've basically just taken that deck list and turned it up to the max, included all of these great new cards, and here are some of the cards that we're running in this new deck. We're running Mew EX with the Genome Hacking attack to take big KOs on things like Mewtwo EX and Charizard EX. It's just a very versatile attacker, very, very good Pokemon. We're running the traditional Weezing here to do typical Weezing shenanigans with the Koga from Genetic Apex, and then we're also including in this deck list one of the new Coughings, or two of the new Coughings, which is a really cool card. It allows us to put one random Coughing from our deck onto our bench. Again, a way to draw cards and add a little bit of consistency to our particular deck list. That Coughing doesn't do any damage, the other Coughing does, but I wanted to try out the new Coughing. And then now we're running the new Tauros, a basic colorless 100 HP Pokemon that does 120 damage to EX Pokemon. Exceptionally strong. It's just going to cover a lot of those matchups where Mew EX isn't particularly good in. Things like Celebi, things like other Mew EXs going against other Mew EXs, and Pikachu. So Tauros is extremely good, and it gives this deck basically two routes that we can go. We can do all of our normal stuff that we would be doing with Weezing, but we can go and attach energies to Tauros, depending on the matchup, or attach energies to Mew EX, and that's how we're going to be taking KOs. Now, the other great card that came out in Mythical Island that makes this deck so great is Budding Expeditioner. This is basically Koga, but instead for Weezing, it's for Mew EX, and we're running both Koga and Budding Expeditioner. It's kind of hard. Try saying that 10 times fast. Budding Expeditioner, we're running two of these in our deck along with two Kogas. So basically, we can take our Mew EX and our Weezing from the active spot and just pull it back into our hand, heal it fully, throw it back on our bench. It's extremely strong. Very, very good. We're also running one copy of Leaf just to help us retreat out more consistently. Very important with this particular deck list. And that's why we're also running two X speeds. And yeah, on top of that, we're just running two Research, two Pokeball, and a Sabrina. But this deck is extremely strong, and you'll be very surprised at how good it is in all of the different matchups that you're going to be facing on the ladder or in tournaments. Really, I mean, either way. This deck's great. I think it's going to be not just the best anti-meta deck, but I think it has the potential to become a real meta deck. That's how good it is. But let's go ahead and play some games, and I'll showcase this deck to you guys and see what we can really do. All right, let's get right into it. Let's hop on the ladder, and we'll play some games. It's not really a ladder, it's random battles, but let's play some random battles and showcase this deck a little bit. The games that I've played so far today, we're playing primarily against Celebi EX. Seen a lot of Celebi. We've seen some Blaine's decks. Actually, we've seen a lot of water type decks with Vaporeon, and just a lot of decks with Mew EX in general, particularly Mewtwo EX. Okay, now we are going to be going second here, and let's see what we start with. So we start with a Tauros. Tauros is a little bit more awkward. It does have a retreat cost of 2. It's probably the one card that we would least like to start with, but it's not a big deal. We do have Leaf in the deck, and we do have multiple X speeds, so not terrible. It's something that you know, we're just gonna have to deal with. So looks like we're playing against a Mewtwo deck, which is great for us. Hopefully, it's kind of the whole purpose of our deck. It's probably the best matchup. Okay, so we do have both X speeds in hand. It is a little bit unfortunate to perhaps have to use both X speeds, but for energy conservation purposes, and we draw a Coughing and a Weezing, so that is actually really good. So we're going second. So what I'm gonna do is attach that energy to the Coughing, and I am going to double X speed into the Coughing so that we can use that division attack, get another Coughing on our bench, and then set up next turn for Weezing. Going second in this deck is extremely good just because you're ahead on the energy curve. And no, we're not doing any damage with Coughing here, but we are going to get a second Coughing on the bench, and we do have Weezing in hand, which is going to be really good to start getting early damage off against Mewtwo EX. We have another Research to play next turn. We'll hopefully find a Mew EX. When we're going against Mewtwo, you basically want to do all the standard stuff with Coughing, but you probably want to invest those extra energies into a Mew EX and not so much Tauros. Tauros can be good, but in general, I would say that Mew EX is probably the best card in this matchup just because it can one-hit KO the Mewtwo EXs. However, we do have Tauros as well in the late game if we do get the energies on Tauros, which can be really good to take KOs on opposing Mew EXs. Weezing's also good against Mew EX as well. I mean, we're doing 50 damage with weakness, and there's another Weezing. Okay, so this is really great. We're going to go ahead, we're going to play the Research right off the bat and see if we have a Mew that we can start investing some energies into. There's the Mew, very good, and a Budding Expeditioner, so really, really great. So the cool thing about this deck, as I've been playing it, is that I just feel like a lot of the cards that I end up drawing are cards that are really particularly useful, whether that's Koga, Expeditioner, X-Speed. You know, every card has a purpose, and you're oftentimes needing a lot of these cards, so it's really good. We're going to attach the energies to the Mew. I know there's nothing on our opponent's board at the moment. This might be a very quick game, but either way, I think against Mewtwo EX, we see the Curlia here. I think it's probably best to invest those energies into our Mew EX. But here we're going to be hitting for 50 with the poison. That's actually 60 damage per turn here. And at the end of his turn, he's actually going to take another tick of poison damage. So very, very strong card Weezing is in these matchups. And we have a Koga in hand, which is really strong. We're attaching energies to the Mew. We're very far ahead in this particular matchup. So we see a Sabrina. This is interesting here. You know, what do we want to do? I mean, we have Koga and Budding Expeditioner in our hand, in fact. So I think I'm actually just going to go into the other Weezing. There's no reason not to. So yeah, I think that's probably the best play. But if you guys are watching this video, I'm going to be uploading a ton of Pokemon TCG Pocket content up in the upcoming weeks with all these new cards. I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribe. If you're tuning in from watching some of my previous videos, again, I really do appreciate it. And hold on, let's just do we want to do anything here? No, I think we're just going to end the turn and let this Curlia die. I guess we'll attack. No, we didn't attach energies, which is fine, yeah. So it's already poisoned. Yeah, we're just going to end the turn. But anyway, yeah, tons of more videos are coming, tons of deck profiles, a lot of analysis of the metagame and all of the new decks. It's actually really fascinating. I'm really excited. I think a lot of the decks are really interesting, whether that's all of the new Mew EX decks, all of the water decks, some of the fire stuff is really cool still. Right now, all of the improvements to Blaine as well, the Blaine's deck. And yeah, and Tauros, Weezing, Celebi, Mew, there's so many great cards. It's so fun. We're going to be making a ton of videos. So yeah, if you're watching this video now and you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Okay, so we see a small Mewtwo on our opponent's bench here, and he evolves that Curlia. And now this is an interesting situation for our opponent to be in, mainly just because, you know, these Gardevoirs might just go down here, or these Curlias, right? They might just start going down. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to attach the energy to... we're just so ahead on pace right now. I think it's fine for us to attach to the Weezing. I don't want to use the Kogas yet. We will just play the Pokeball just to play it. We could have Koga'd there and then saved our energies and attached one to the Tauros. But it's okay. We can just attach to the Weezing here and save the Koga. I think that's going to be totally fine. Now, we could be in a little bit of trouble if we don't draw into a Sabrina, or if our opponent, you know, gets a Gardevoir out. You know, there's still an out for our opponent to win here, but we're in the driver's seat. I mean, this Weezing deck is just extremely good in all of different scenarios against Mewtwo. No matter how you slice it, we're hitting for weakness with Weezing. We're doing so much chip damage. We're stalling out a little bit. And okay, so he's going to switch up the active Mewtwo. Okay, so we have 5 cards in deck, actually. We've drawn through a lot of our deck already. And okay, so he's going to heal up that Curlia. We're really, again, just looking for that Sabrina. It would be absolutely phenomenal right now. But what we also can do is we can just one-hit KO this Mewtwo in the active spot. It does 120 damage, but it has 120 HP. So basically, what we can do here is just knock out the Mewtwo in the active with our Mew EX, which is probably what we're just going to do, to be honest with you, because that Gardevoir is not a particular threat in its own right. So we have Leaf in hand, and I actually would rather probably play Leaf here and just discard the energy from our Weezing. Probably do that because our Weezing is at full HP. We want to save the Koga in a scenario where we want to basically heal up our Weezing. So I'm just going to play the Leaf, reduce its retreat cost by 2. And in this scenario, I think it's probably a little bit better than playing Koga, although it doesn't really matter. We're so far ahead in this particular matchup. We're going to bring up our Mew EX, and here it is, guys. We're going to see a nice KO with Genome hacking. We're going to do Power Blast, 120 damage to the Mewtwo, using its own attack against it. Look at that, one-hit KO. This deck is so good against Mewtwo and Mew. I just love it. I love playing this deck, and on the ladder we've seen plenty of Mew and Mewtwo decks, so it's really fun to have this strong of an advantage in this particular matchup. So now our opponent just doesn't really have much to do. I don't really know what he can do. He can I guess try to get another card set up here. There's the Mewtwo EX. If we draw into a Sabrina, which we do have somewhere in our deck, we're gonna be in a pretty safe spot here. Yeah, okay, so we see the concession from our opponent. Not much he can do. Our deck is just really good in this particular matchup. All right, guys, let's hop into another game and see what this deck can do. Now, full disclosure, I just spent basically 30 minutes playing a match against the mirror matchup against another Weezing Mew EX deck. And that deck went all the way to timer. I didn't know that was possible, but we both hit 30 turns and the game just ended. That's never happened to me before. So in the mirror matchup, I don't know. It was certainly something to behold. But now we're playing against a water type deck. I need to get my bearings because I'm not even going to include that because it was literally 30 minutes of like going back and forth and no one was able to really do anything. So absolutely crazy. We're going first, so we don't really need to bench this Mew EX. But yeah, I would show you guys that match. But like I said, I mean, it just went on forever and nothing happened and the game ended in a tie. So yeah. That's how that went. Okay, so now we're playing Articuno. This is very, very interesting. I've never actually played Articuno in this matchup before. I think Tauros and Mew are both probably pretty good. I'm trying to think, if we're going against a Starmie, we probably, I think, hold on, I'm trying to think. I think Tauros is probably better. I think so. The problem is if he starts attacking us with Blizzard, if he starts to attack us with Blizzard back to back, that Tauros could get enough HP knocked off of it to where, you know, it has less than 80 and could get one hit KO'd by the Blizzard if it's in the active spot, right? So we got to be careful about that. Okay, so we see two Articunos here and a Staryu. Okay. All right, very interesting here. I still like Tauros, I do. Oh, we drill the Weezing, that's perfect. We're behind on energy, which is a bit unfortunate, for sure. But I think we're actually just going to attach to the Tauros. I just don't really think we really need to attach to the Weezing here. I think it's probably more beneficial for us to get those 3 energies on Tauros. The poison damage will chip him down enough to where, you know, he just, you know, he's in range of a KO. So I think that's kind of I think that's just the plan here. I think that's literally what we're gonna do. I assume he's probably just gonna keep investing, yeah, energies onto this Articuno. Now, yeah, okay, so we're in range of the KO here, and that is tough because we're kind of a turn behind because we went second. There's the research. Okay. So no Koga in our hand. It's a little bit tough. We could burn the X speed and the Leaf and just go into the Mew, take a hit, and then we have Budding Expeditioner for the following turn. It's kind of a Hail Mary play, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of crazy. But we're actually doing it. We're gonna play X speed and Leaf to just manually retreat out with Weezing with no energies attached to it. And we're gonna just go into the Mew EX to live a hit basically from this Articuno. That's literally what we're doing here. If our opponent plays a Misty to like one of his bench Pokemon and flips like at least two heads here, that could be really bad for us. Just from a pure pacing standpoint here. Did we see the Misty? Is there a Misty coming out? Hello? Is Misty coming? Don't do this to me. Okay, research. Okay, all right. Okay, so I mean, he probably drew into the Misty there, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. So here we go. Here comes the Blizzard. It's going to do a little bit of chip damage to our Pokemon here, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. We're going to be able to KO this. There's another Budding Expeditioner. Look at it. Here it is. Okay, here's the combo, guys. So we have 3 energies on the Tauros, ready to one-hit KO this Articuno in the active spot. We have a Mew EX in the active position here, but we're going to play Budding Expeditioner, and we're just going to pick up this Mew EX. Absolutely crazy. And we're going to go into our Tauros here and knock out this Articuno in the active spot for 120 damage. Very, very crazy. I love this deck. It's so fun. Here we go. Fighting Tackle, 120. See you later, Articuno. And our Mew EX is fully healed. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay, so basically, like I said, we just don't want our opponent to flip like 2 heads on Misty here. That's kind of where things would be very bad for us. 2 heads on a Misty would be very, very bad. Okay, so we see the attached to the Starmie. Are we gonna, No? Okay, that's cool. All good. Another research. I'm gonna attach to the Mew here. Again, there's no real need. We both have 2 Kogas left in our deck. We have another Budding Expeditioner in our hand. We have an X-Speed that we just draw, and we have another Mew EX. Okay. None of that was like stuff that's super useful. We're just gonna hit the active for a big old 120 here. And we know that he's just going to bring in his Starmie, and he's going to KO our Tauros, which is definitely annoying. Definitely annoying. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, the fact that we didn't get... this is funny. The fact that we did not get a Coughing down that turn is actually really disappointing, if I'm being 100% honest with you. So we XP'd once. Oh, did he play 2 X speeds there? I think he did. That's crazy. Okay, yeah. So our Tauros is gone, and that is pretty tough. That puts us in a pretty rough position. But again, what we can do is we can use the other Mew EX with no energies, and we can use it kind of as a pivot, basically. We're gonna go into the Weezing. Now, if we draw Koga here, okay, we don't draw Koga. That would be crazy if we did, though, right? Okay, so what do we want to do? We're gonna play Research right off the bat, right? There's another Coughing and another Wheezing. Sure. That works. I think what we have to do, we're gonna Poison, and I think we go into the Mew here. Yeah, okay, this is the play. This is the play. We're gonna attach to the Mew, we're gonna leave Wheezing in the active spot, and we're actually just gonna get KO'd. That's literally like the strategy here. That's kind of basically all we can do. And drawing into a Sabrina here would be very good. I think now is probably a good time. We could bench the Tauros, or we could bench another Mew. I kind of want to bench the Mew because we have a Budding Expeditioner. Our active Weezing is going to get KO'd anyway, so I would rather just get this Mew down. Not that it actually matters, but yeah, we're just going to Poison here. We're not doing any damage to the active, but again, that's not a huge deal. It's really not. 4 cards in deck. We need a Kogas. We really do need Koga. We really, really, really do need Koga. Because now he goes down to 2 here, right? So he's got 2 prizes. One of our Weezings is down. One of our Weezing is down. Do I lead with the Coughing? Yeah, I think we're living a hit no matter what next turn. And I'm kind of just banking that. Okay, so no Koga yet. Again, I'm kind of just banking on the fact that we will see a Koga here in the next couple draws. We have a 2 out of 3 chance to draw Koga, so it's pretty important that we do. But yeah, this another Starmie EX is in range of KO. He's just going to retreat into this Starmie EX, which again is not great for us, but it's not that bad. It really isn't. And here's the Vaporeon. Okay, so what does this do? What does Vaporeon really do for him in this scenario? It doesn't actually do anything. There's nothing at this point that Vaporeon's going to be really doing for him. He's going to just hit me for 90, which is cool. If we draw Koga here, that would be phenomenal. In fact, if we don't draw Koga, I think we lose. And here's a Misty. Sure. I don't think Misty's going to be really doing anything. We don't. Do we lose? No, we don't lose. Even if we don't draw Koga. Because we can basically attach X speed, retreat out into the Mew, take a hit, and let the Poison chip down. But there's the Koga. We knew we were going to draw it. All right. So here's the play, right? Here's the play. We're going to attach to the Mew EX. We Poison here with Weezing. We're going to Koga. And what Koga's going to do is here, we're going to scoop up our Weezing, which basically full heals it. We can bring up the Mew, and we can use Genome Hacking to do 90 damage to the Starmie. We're going to bench this Coughing, because this is going to be our cleanup attacker in this particular scenario. And do we want to bench the Tauros? We probably don't. I don't think there's ever a world where we want to bench the Tauros, because we don't have a way to get it out of the active spot properly. So we're not going to bench the Tauros, but we are going to just Genome Hacking and hit the active for 90 damage. This is going to bring him down to 40, minus 10 from the Poison, which is going to put him in range of Weezing next turn. His Starmie down there. So now, okay, yes. Now this sets this up that no matter what next turn, because we have Sabrina in hand, that we are going to win this game. I don't think our opponent really has an out unless he yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else our opponent can do here. So here we go. Yep, he's going to go into the Vaporeon. It's the only Pokemon with enough HP here. But again, all of his other Pokemon are in range of a KO. So again, what we're going to be able to do is just Sabrina, because we have one Sabrina. And this is why we want to run Sabrina in the list. There are just enough scenarios where it's useful. But either way, I mean, basically, like, we had another Budding Expeditioner to scoop up a Mew, so if we needed a pivot, we could have done that. We have another Weezing, so we could have just retreated out, attached to the Weezing, and, you know, KO'd the active, the Starmie or the Articuno for 30. But we're also just hitting the, we're hitting any Pokemon on the bench for enough to KO it with Mew EX. So that's just exceptionally strong here. And yeah, this is going to be GG. There is the Sabrina. Let's see who he brings up. Doesn't actually matter. We're just, We have enough to KO any of those Pokemon. We're probably going to see the concession here from my opponent. Maybe not. But either way, very, very cool. Here's the genome hacking for 90, and this is going to be the last prize cards, and we are going to take out this Starmie to win the game. Okay, guys, so this deck is phenomenal. I mean, it's probably my favorite deck right now. I know all the hype right now is around, Mewtwo, Mew EX, Celebi, things like that. But honestly, I really do think that this Mew EX deck is the best anti-meta deck right now, and it's probably a top 5 deck in the format. It just has such a fun matchup spread, and the gameplay is really engaging.